Thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. I'm Maria Moreau. Holiday season is here. A lot of people taking some last minute vacations, spending some time with friends and family. And the last thing you want to do around this time is get sick or fall under the weather. So we are sharing some tips on how you can avoid getting sick, staying a little healthy as those temperatures drop. We're joined by Dr. Paul Kilgore. A big part of, staying healthy and making sure you're looking after your body is the little things like watching what you eat, making sure that you're properly dressed, and just looking after your daily habits.
Absolutely. Maria, that's a great point. And thank you so much for the introduction. And one of the things that I think people should know, especially during the holidays, is that good nutrition is really kind of the underpinning or the foundation for great health. And one of the things that we know is that things like eggs and the nutrients in eggs are a great asset to your overall health and to your overall nutrition.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit more about that. It's a common breakfast food. Some people find themselves skipping breakfast, especially if you're running off to the office or you're just trying to start your day. Let's talk a little bit about the benefits of eating something like eggs and what that could mean for you if you're trying to avoid getting sick.
Right, right. So one of the things that we know eggs are really good for are protein. So protein is a necessary component of everyone's diet. We use proteins to build up our muscles, of course, but we also use proteins to build the backbone of our endocrine system. That's our hormones. We also use the proteins and the amino acids that we take in through eggs to build up neurotransmitters. And more important, perhaps, is that we use the proteins and amino acids to build up components of our immune system. And one of the components of our immune system we know are the T cells, but also B cells and immunoglobulins.
Absolutely. Are there any other foods? We talk about eggs being such a crucial part of staying healthy, but other food sources, excuse me, possibly ways to stay hydrated that could also contribute to keeping your health up.
Absolutely. Great point, Maria. Hydration is key, especially in the winter months when we know the relative humidity outside and in our environment is lower. And so we can become dehydrated even without knowing it. And one of the things, of course, we know is as we get older, our protection can wane against diseases. Also, our sensitivity or awareness of dehydration goes down as we age. So it's really important to keep track of how much water and fluids we're taking in. And also keep in mind the micronutrients that we want to take in. So micronutrients include things like zinc, but also include things like vitamins. And we know, for example, eggs are a very rich source of zinc, vitamin D, and actually one other protein or glycoprotein, which I wanted to mention, we call it IgY. And IgY is a protein that was discovered in eggs several decades ago. And we're just doing more research on this now to understand the potential impact of IgY in our diet and as used in a supplement.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up vitamins. I think a lot of people find that they lack obtaining those minerals and nutrients from their food, and vitamins can be a great way to balance that. I think I see time and time again a lot of people entering the winter months and getting more serious about their vitamin game. I know at least I do. Is it better to take a certain vitamin seasonally or have a well-rounded vitamin routine established based on what your body needs?
So, great question again. I love the idea of a routine vitamin supplementation. And the reason I like that is that we don't need to put too much thinking into it. We can just know that every day we should be taking in a multivitamin. One of the things that we know is that during the winter months, we get less vitamin D. So, a vitamin D component in your multivitamin or an additional vitamin D supplement is very important. Or look at your diet and look at the vegetables and fruits and eggs that we know contain vitamin D and increase that component of your diet. Fruits and vegetables are a fantastic source of all of these micronutrients, as well as the eggs that I mentioned.
I apologize. Could you repeat yourself there?
Sure. So vitamin D is a key component of our diets, and we know that it goes down in the winter months. Certainly, one of the things we can do is take that multivitamin. We can also make sure we're taking a good amount of eggs and other nutrients through fruits and vegetables. And of course, whether or not we want to supplement with a vitamin D supplement is something you can have a conversation with your doctor about. depending on what other foods you're taking in. And that's always something to consider because it's important for our bone health, but also for our immune system.
Is there anything that people, don't want to say do wrong, but forget to do in their attempt to, stay healthy during the colder months?
In the winter months, I think in particular, one of the things that I think is so important is to maintain a level of exercise and a level of exercise that keeps us moving. If you can get aerobic exercise, that's fantastic. It's sometimes very difficult in colder climates or when it's cold out. Always be careful of the ice and snow if you're outside in that environment. And of course, try to do it with someone else. Have a partner or a friend or a colleague that you could do that exercise with to kind of keep it going and sustain that effort and momentum, especially through the new year and especially during the holidays when it's very difficult to maintain all these activities.
Yeah, it's a great thing to start a New Year's resolution, especially if it's fitness a little earlier, get into the habit of doing that, and also just keep your body moving. I think that's all great advice. Something I also wanted to touch upon, you as an epidemiologist probably know best. It is also flu season.
It is. And flu, along with COVID-19 and RSV, are things that we're really on the lookout for. One of the things that we know is in cooler climates or cooler temperatures, and when the humidity goes down, we know that viruses can travel through the airborne route from one person to another much easier. So spreading of viruses becomes very easy, especially when we're indoors or in schools and classrooms. We know that viruses can spread in these very tiny invisible particles through the air from one person to another. So a flu vaccination is a key component to protect you from getting sick from influenza. And of course, if you do get symptoms, try to stay home and protect yourselves and others around you. And be aware that there is a good flu test out there. You can get diagnosed with flu. And if you are positive for flu, you can actually get treatment, antiviral treatment.
Absolutely. Dr. Kilgore, I want to thank you so much for your time. And it's not every day that we do have a health expert in front of us, especially around a time where a lot of people are focusing a little more on their health. Any final words of advice as we head into the end of this year?
Yes, I think one thing to know is that as we do more of our research on this IgY, this immuno-IgY component, we know that our partnership with SRW Laboratories is very important. They are developing supplements that do contain immuno-IgY along with zinc and vitamin D and quercetin. I really like this approach because it's not only multi-component, but it protects your immune system and helps reduce the inflammation that may occur either through heavy exercise or when you do get sick, our body reacts with that inflammation that we want to kind of control and make sure we kind of tamp down as much as possible. So that's a good thing. And eggs, of course, nutrition, and just staying healthy and being aware of your health is a great thing going into the new year.